All right. On October 26th, the United States made a series of moves in Southeast Asia that were quiet, but really, really significant. Tonight, I'm going to show you what just changed, why it matters so much for critical minerals and semiconductors, and exactly what you should watch next.
Because if you look behind the standard press releases, there's a major strategic shift going on. The US is moving aggressively on trade with ASEAN, and the real target is the supply chain for the technologies that are going to define our future. Everything from artificial intelligence to electric vehicles.
And let's just be crystal clear about the context here. This isn't just about trade deficits. As this quote gets at, for decades, the central strategic issue in the region has been how to deal with the rise of China. These new agreements are just the latest, and maybe the most direct, chapter in that long story.
So what actually happened? I'm tracking 3 specific agreements that just went public. And when you look at them together, they represent a coordinated effort to basically redefine the flow of critical goods. Let's break them down.
Here are the moves. You've got 2 reciprocal trade agreements. These are all about two-way market access. One's with Malaysia, focusing on technology, and the other's with Cambodia, focusing on tariffs. Then, the third is a minerals pact with Thailand, a memorandum of understanding aimed right at securing one critical supply chain. Now look, individually, they're pretty standard deals, but together, they form a coordinated strategic front.
Now, the really interesting one here is the agreement with Malaysia. It's the most comprehensive of the 3, and it's the one that really pulls back the curtain on the entire American strategy. This isn't just about lowering the price of stuff, it's about fundamentally rerouting it.
And the scale here is just massive. We're talking about a commitment from Malaysia to purchase an estimated $150 billion worth of U.S. semiconductors, aerospace components, and data center equipment. This is not a small adjustment. It is a major redirection of capital and critical hardware.
And these commitments are concrete. On the commercial side, we're talking about 30 Boeing aircraft and billions in U.S. LNG purchases every single year. On the investment side, a staggering $70 billion is set to flow into the U.S. But this is absolutely a two-way street. In return, Malaysia has to align with U.S. standards on everything from labor practices to digital taxes. This is a very tightly integrated deal. So what's the big idea behind all these moves? Well, it all comes down to a single concept that has been gaining a lot of steam in Washington.
It's called friendshoring, and the idea is pretty simple. You de-risk your supply chains for essential goods by moving them away from geopolitical rivals who could use them as leverage and into allied nations. It's a fundamental rewiring of global manufacturing based on security, not just on cost.
And this strategy is laser-focused. We're not talking about t-shirts. We're talking about the foundational components of the modern economy. The semiconductors, the power AI, the batteries for electric vehicles, and the critical minerals and rare earth elements you need for all of it.
So here's the crucial point. The ultimate goal is to carve out these redundant, secure, non-China supply chains for the core technologies of the 21st century. In this new map, Malaysia becomes a key hub for semiconductors, Thailand for critical minerals.
This completely changes the nature of the great power competition. It's shifting from the podium to the port.
Think about it this way. The old competition was fought with speeches, summits, and alliances. The new competition is being fought with tariffs, with compliance rules, with control over shipping lanes, and with strict export controls. It's a logistics war, and the winner is the one who controls the flow of goods. But of course, this isn't happening in a vacuum. As analysts Emmers and Jones point out, nations in the region are hedging their bets. They see the U.S. as a key partner, but concerns about its reliability, well, they've grown. So this logistical push by the U.S. is an attempt to answer those concerns with something concrete, economic security.
And make no mistake, the impact of this is immediate. This isn't some 10-year plan. If these new lower tariffs hold up, and if compliance rules on things like labor and technology are enforced, investment will follow. Factories will move, supply chains will reroute, and they will do it very, very quickly.
So how can we track if this strategy is actually working? I'm watching 4 key signals, the tripwires that will tell us if this is a real shift or just more political posturing. First, watch the tariff text. The fine print on rates and exemptions, that's everything. Second, look for the chip carve-outs. We need to see specific rules that actually reroute semiconductors through Malaysia. Third, and this is so crucial, watch Thailand for minerals midstream. Are they just digging up raw ore, or are they building the refineries to process it? That's the difference between being a resource colony and a strategic partner. And finally, keep an eye on Cambodia. Does its market access become conditional on enforcing new labor standards? That's the test case for compliance.
Because at the end of the day, it's that simple. Forget the slogans. The real indicator of global influence isn't who gives the best speech, it's who controls the supply chain. Power follows supply.